What I noticed with self-concept videos is that most people just talk about the fact that you have to think about who you want to be, or like embody who you want to be, which is a big part of the process, but they don't talk about the things that might be blocking people, because there are certain blocks that prevent you from really using self-concept to its fullest, which I'll talk about today. It's too abstract, I think, to say, oh, you just embody the person that you want to be. There's more to it, right? Like, there's more to that story. There's more behind the scenes. Like, what exactly do you do? What are the practical tips? What are the practical steps? What do you actually do to embody that? That was what I felt was missing in current videos. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is To My Younger Self. My name is Yana, and I'm here to teach you all things self-empowerment, self-love, and self-care, and help you create a life that you actually love to wake up to. Today, I really want to talk about self-concept in a way that has never been talked about before, or at least I have never heard it talked about this way before. And these tips are actually what allowed me to manifest fast and efficiently, and also heal throughout the process. Here's the thing. If you do self-concept correctly, it must work for you. It is law. Like, it is absolute law. Just like gravity and you dropping an apple, it's always going to fall. Self-concept, you using it right, is always going to work. And sometimes people don't see it work because they're either not committed enough, or they don't really know how to put it into practice. And both reasons are valid, right? Both reasons are fair, but if you want it to work for you, then watch this video, really give this your all, and you will see your life change, truly. Self-concept, in summary, is basically the beliefs we have about ourselves and the beliefs we have about our world. So it operates quite deeply from the subconscious mind, although you use your conscious mind to alter the subconscious. It is the very foundational inner world that you're pulling beliefs from and actually reflecting into your reality. So that's why it works so well, and that's why it must work, because you're altering your subconscious. And that's why you also have to be committed to it. The subconscious takes time to change. It's not as quickly changeable as your thinking mind, your mental energy. But once you start to actually change it and alter it and plant beliefs into your subconscious mind, you'll see the results way more than you would see if you're just using your conscious thinking mind. This whole concept is basically based on the idea that reality is a blank slate onto which we project our inner world, our inner beliefs, our belief systems. Whatever you feel or believe or see, or whatever is internal for you, is going to be on the external. So everything is a mirror, and everything is reflecting back to you what you have inside of you. So the reason I really wanted to talk about this is because I really feel like I figured it out for myself. Like, I cannot speak for every single other person, because as I said in my other video about manifestation, everyone has a personal manifesting pattern. You can't expect everything to work for you the way it works for other people. And I feel like I figured mine out. I feel like I'm manifesting much quicker than I ever did before. And I feel very in flow and in momentum with the universe, the manifestations that I want. So I wanted to share it to show people that you can get from a place of where you're not manifesting anything and nothing is working out, which I was in, to a place where it finally clicks for you. So yeah, let's get straight into it. I have 4 tips for you about the self-concept technique that I want to share. I really urge you to commit to this self-concept technique, I don't know, at least a week, at least 2 weeks, as much as you can, so that you can actually finally see a result and then start to build that trust muscle that this does work for you, and make it a very positive feedback loop, right? Like, the more you believe in the process, the more the process is gonna show you that belief. One of the blocks that could happen for you is that you don't believe in the self-concept work. You know, whatever you don't believe in is going to be very difficult for you to see a result from. So right now, I ask you to be open-minded, and I ask you to kind of be in this moment, watching this video from a completely new perspective. Imagine you're seeing a video about self-concept for the first time. You've never tried it, and you've never failed at it, and just come to this from a perspective that everything is always working out for you, and that whatever information you come across is the right information for you. That will lay a positive foundation for you to actually integrate this information and put it into practice. The first thing that I want to talk about right now, before everything else, is one of the biggest points of self-sabotage for people when they're using self-concept, and that is comfort. You are stuck in this story that you continue to tell yourself every single day when you wake up, based on what it was yesterday, for every yesterday that happened in your life. And you're only stuck in it because you're comfortable with it. No matter how bad it is, no matter how shitty you might feel, you're simply comfortable with what your reality looks like now, that you don't want to change it. And so you self-sabotage yourself. That's normal, right? Like, we as humans, we hate change. We all hate change because back in the day, change meant that you might not survive, right? Like, if you see something that is unknown to you, or come across an animal that is unknown to you, you don't know if you're going to survive or not. You don't know what your chances are. You have no way to calculate how successful you might be in this situation. And there's a bigger risk of death or something really bad happening if there's something unknown. So we're afraid of the unknown. But the key lies in whether we let that unknown, or that fear of the unknown and that fear of change, hold us back from actually living the reality that we want. There's a story you're telling yourself, right? Like, based on the past, which the past is actually no longer a reality if you think about it. It's just memory. But you continue to tell yourself the story because that's just what you know, even if it no longer serves you. And I have a very good example for you. If you're the type of person that tends to think a lot about what they need to do throughout the day, or let's say when you're in a quiet situation, like maybe you're going for a walk in the park or you're chilling on the beach or something, and it's supposed to be quiet time, it's supposed to be a relaxing time, your mind starts to go wild and say things like, oh, when I come back home, I'm gonna do the dishes, or I'm gonna do the laundry, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And you start planning out what you're gonna do. I'm like that. Like, my mind is like that. And I think a lot of people's minds are like that. And this is just an example. It could be something else for you. But that overactive mind is literally your brain just finding comfort. You're so used to thinking in that way. You're so used to, thinking in the productive, what I have to do, the things that I need to tick off my to-do list, that when you're in peace and quiet, even though peace and quiet are good for you, and even though mental clarity and mental stillness is really, really, really good for you, your brain self-sabotages, in a way you could say, and starts to fill that quiet and peace with loud chatter and things that you need to do. You see what I mean? Like, your brain is wired to be in comfort. Whenever it is in a situation that it's not used to, it's going to revert back to old patterns that make it feel more comfortable, that make it feel more safe. And comfort is safety. Comfort is just safety. And we feel more safe when there's things that are predictable to us. So the thing I want you to realize is, just because something is good for you does not mean it will be comfortable. I repeat, just because something is good for you does not mean it's going to be comfortable. Sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zones. Not sometimes, like most of the time, to grow, we need to step out of our comfort zones. We can't expect to grow without changing. I say that all the time. Discomfort is just a part of growth, and discomfort actually shows where you're hitting your growth edge. So whenever you feel that fear of, let's say, speaking to a certain person, and then you go to speak to that person anyway, that is you growing. And it's the same with building muscle. Like they always say, right? Like, that pain in the gym is really good for your muscles because you know that it's, being torn and then going to be rebuilding, and that's how you grow your muscles. It's the same thing that, that pain that you feel in the gym, it's that same pain that you feel when you're hitting your growth edge mentally or psychologically. Like, when we're afraid to talk to a certain person, it feels kind of painful. It feels uncomfortable. But if we do it anyway, we realize, okay, it's not that bad. Now this is my new comfort zone. Now I know that this time I talked to a person, it went well, or it went bad and nothing happened to me. I'm still alive, I'm still good. Even if I got rejected, I'm still okay. So every time we have that new experience that pushes us a little bit further into our discomfort zone, we're able to grow and change and become a different person that lives in a new reality, lives in a new life. So in that way, we're able to change our story. We're able to change our story from someone who could never talk to people they didn't know to someone who tried to talk to one person that they knew and it went well. And then you can use that experience further and further throughout your life to be able to build it even more. It's like little building blocks in Jenga. You start with a foundation of a belief, and then you build upon it, right? And you can build that belief in either a positive direction or a negative direction, in a direction that's going to help you grow out of your comfort zone and create the life that you truly want, or in a direction where you're going to be stuck in your comfort zone and never change, and then complain that you're still in that same life that you don't want. So realize the ways that you're self-sabotaging yourself to find comfort, and start to identify things that you might be afraid of to do that are not actually unsafe, right? Like, I'm not telling you to jump out of the balcony or something, but identify the areas in your life where you feel a little bit of fear just because you're hitting that growth edge, and do those things. Do those things even if they're small. Let's say if you're afraid of posting something on social media, that was me before. I was afraid of posting something on my social media, like even if it was something stupid like a selfie or something. I was afraid because I don't know, I was afraid of being judged or something like that. But I started to do it anyway, and I realized, like, no, this is actually fine. Like, I'm okay. It's all in our heads, and like most of the time fear is just an illusion. Like, yeah, sure, if you're being chased by a lion, it's not an illusion, but if you believe that you can't do something and you're afraid to do something, you know, like, let's say apply for a job that you really want, or talk to that person that you find really attractive. If you're afraid to do that, that's an illusion. It's your mind telling you can't do it, but you can do it. You can totally do it. So yeah, I encourage you to step out of your comfort zone in that way. And that way you'll be able to loosen up your self-concept in a way that will serve you, and in a way to show yourself that you can do this, and stop self-sabotaging yourself and holding yourself back in this old story that you're telling yourself, so then you can create a new one. Now, for the second tip, I want to talk about how we're giving our power away. And why this is important for self-concept is basically because self-concept is the way we see ourselves, right? And if we see ourselves as not powerful, you know, as weak, as incapable, that's not good for our self-concept. That's not good for our reality. That's not good for what we're creating in the world. I want you to realize that you are actually super, super powerful, more than you can even imagine. Like, it is impossible to comprehend how powerful you are. And you forget that power. You forget that power because the mind plays such strong tricks on you. The mind creates a lot of illusion. I want to give you a few examples of how you might be giving your power away that you might not even be realizing, because I think realizing that these things are not actually serving you in the best way that you think they are will help you, you know, maybe at least reduce the time that you spend on these things and listen to your intuition more. So my whole goal here for you is that you listen to yourself, your soul, your intuition, your heart, over all these external things that you're seeking here. The first thing is seeking advice outside of yourself. Why this is bad for your self-concept is because it kind of implies and makes you believe that you are not capable yourself, that you don't know enough yourself, that you don't know what's good for you if you seek advice from other people. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out to seek advice, you know, like I talk to my family all the time, I talk to my friends, but it's about, I think, the amount that you do that, or for what things you do that. Notice the intention behind when you're asking for advice. Like, sometimes there's really big decisions that you have to make that I encourage you to seek advice. Like, that's great. But if you're doing it on like a daily basis with every single thing that you do, with insignificant things, you're giving your power away because you make yourself believe that you can't do it yourself, or you make yourself believe that they know better than you for something that you're gonna have or something that you're gonna do. And that's simply not true. You know what's best for you. And those insignificant things, like, you know, picking a food, picking an outfit, those small things that you might be seeking advice from other people, is actually the perfect thing to train your intuition. You're missing out on those opportunities. So it's about realizing where you're giving your power away in letting people decide for you. But the same goes for astrology, tarot readings, psychics, anyone who you believe knows something that you don't. Because look, you have all the information that you need inside you. You really do. You know what is best for you. You know your next steps. You know whether that person is right for you or not. You don't need someone else to tell you that. You really don't. You have all the resources that you could ever need, all the support, all the love you could ever need within you already. And yes, sometimes it's hard to realize that, and sometimes it's not as clear to us. But it's the same thing where if you're seeking, for example, a tarot reading to tell you what you should do next for your job, or, you know, whether someone's going to text you, things like that, you are saying, I don't have enough knowledge to know what is right for me, or I don't know if I'm capable. And by believing someone else over your own intuition, let's say like you have an intuitive thought that this is how it's going to go, but you still look for external advice or psychics or, like that kind of information, one, you're giving your power away because you're saying that your intuitive thoughts are not enough, they're not good enough, they're not strong enough. And two, you're giving away the responsibility for your life because you're saying what they say is actually going to describe my life for me. And I don't need to do anything about it. Like, if they say that this person is going to text me, then they're going to text me. I don't need to do anything about it. You're not in the driver's seat of your reality. They kind of tell you what's going to happen for you. But what if you want it to be different? What if your soul is guiding you to something different, but then they tell you something and you believe them over yourself? It's controversial because I feel like a lot of people like those kind of things. I used to like that a lot as well. Like I want to say I was a tarot reader. I'm not a tarot reader now because I kind of gave that up for this very reason, because I realized how self-empowering it is to actually listen to my own intuition. And so I stopped reading for other people as well. Maybe for you right now, it's not about stopping completely, right? It's not about like cutting those things out of your life if you really enjoy them. But when you do watch those kind of things or seek that kind of information, ask yourself, what do I think? Or does this resonate with me truly? Or what am I going to trust here? Or am I believing this person over my own intuition? And in that way, you start to realize that you know better than other people for what you have to do in your life or what you want to do in your life. Tip number 3 is all about your self-talk. By self-talk, I mean the way you're talking to yourself in your mind. So I put up a video recently about how I don't believe that thoughts create your reality. I think it's not the thoughts that create your reality, it's those beliefs, which is why I believe in self-concept. But I think your thoughts, the daily thoughts that you have, can show you what your beliefs are. So you can use your thoughts to identify what your belief system is. Our thoughts are reflecting the beliefs that we have. So let's say, for example, you come across a challenge, whether at school or at work. Your thoughts are going to reflect whether you think you're capable of overcoming that challenge. Let's say, for example, you have a task that you need to do that is really difficult and you need to talk to a client, and that's something you're afraid of. Your internal state, so your mind is going to be telling you, oh, I don't know if I can do this. The thoughts are going to reflect that, right? You're going to be thinking things like, oh, who can I ask for help? Or maybe it's going to start like catastrophizing and thinking, oh, I'm going to get fired if I don't get this done. This is going to be the end of my career, things like that, right? Your mind can reflect what it is you feel in that situation, what it is that you believe about the situation. On the flip hand, someone with a belief that they're capable and they can get through anything and they can find a solution to any problem is going to think things like, oh, okay, how can I solve this issue? Like, how can I overcome this? This is another thing to put in my portfolio that's going to make me look really good for the next job I'm going to have. They're going to think way more positive. The reason I'm even talking about this is because I want you to start to listen to what your thoughts are, what it is that you're thinking on a day-to-day basis, and start writing them down, the ones that are significant enough. For example, do you think things like, I'm stupid, or I'm always late, or I'm incapable, or people don't like me, or people are making fun of me? All these thoughts are pointing to your negative beliefs, or to the beliefs that are not serving you anymore. Again, like I said with comfort, these thoughts are just reflecting something that you once believed, and that belief was created for you for safety reasons. Like, it was created so that it can keep you safe. For example, if you're believing that you're incapable, maybe one time in childhood you did something wrong and someone told you like that's bad work, and you started to believe that you're incapable, so you'll never try again and you would never get that negative feedback ever again, right? So that's like a protection mechanism. But even protection mechanisms run out of benefit, right? Over time, some things no longer serve us. And the point is to find those negative beliefs that are no longer serving you. And if you have positive beliefs, it's great to write them down too, so then you can show yourself where in life you're believing good things about yourself and you're thinking good things about yourself and actually working out. Because I'm sure that if you start doing this consistently, you'll start to see a pattern where the positive beliefs, for example, if you believe that, you're beautiful, you're lovable, you can get into a relationship easily, you probably have not much issue in the dating realm of your life. But if you believe at the same time that I'm stupid, I'm incapable, I don't know how to find solutions to problems, your work life might not be that great. So you'll be able to see these parallels to your thoughts and then also your beliefs. And then through those thoughts, it can help you identify the beliefs where you can start to use self-concept to rewire them, to rewrite them. Once you identify the list of your thoughts, you can start to ask yourself, why am I thinking those thoughts and what does this thought mean to you, in order to identify the underlying belief. Let's say, for example, you have a thought like, I'm stupid and I'm incapable, like I can't do this. And you start to ask yourself, why do I feel that way? Like, what made me feel that way in the first place? And maybe you'll realize there was a teacher in school at some point that made you feel that way, that would always put you down, that would make you believe that you're incapable. And you would ask yourself, what is this belief telling me? Like, what am I creating in my life from this? What is the story that I'm telling myself about this? And you might realize that you don't feel good enough. The core belief is that you're not good enough, that you tried everything that you could, but that teacher still put you down. That teacher still told you that you're stupid, even though you were trying your best. And so you started to believe that you're not good enough as you are, that you need to try really hard to be someone else. And you identify those beliefs, and then you start to use self-concept and rewire them. So whenever you identify that negative belief, the one that's no longer serving you, is playing in your life, you flip it. You say, no, I am good enough. I'm strong enough now to choose a new belief. I'm capable enough now to choose a new belief. And that's where I say that it takes patience and commitment. You need to become really aware of the beliefs that are holding you back in the story that you're telling yourself, so you can start telling yourself a different story. And the reason I tell you that it's good to identify your negative beliefs before you start telling yourself the positive story is because you'll be able to target the more deep-rooted things that are really holding you back. Because, for example, let's say you're telling yourself a story, but you're bypassing the negative beliefs that are actually playing out in your life. It's going to be like putting a plaster onto a bullet wound. It's not going to be as effective because you're not going to actually take out all the stuff that is holding you back before putting on the good stuff, you know? Like those beliefs that are playing out in your life are going to be much heavier and much bigger than the new ones that you're trying to plaster on, and it'll take much longer. But if you can identify and kind of start to clean out that wound and start to take out that bullet that really hurt you, you can fill that space with the positive beliefs and that positive self-concept and self-talk and heal it, like actually heal it. So the final tip that I want to leave you with is that you should not shy away, or you shouldn't be afraid if you start feeling negative emotions. And this is similar to the comfort point, where discomfort is part of the process, but this is a little bit different, because when we start to embody something positive that we're not used to, we might hit all the negative stuff that has been built up over the years that we haven't processed before we actually fully are able to feel into and enjoy the positive. And I'll give you an example that will clear this up for you, because it's very abstract right now. So when we fall in love with someone and we start to get excited and we feel that love and we're like, wow, everything's beautiful, we see life through rose-colored glasses, we might also start to feel some pain. And that is the pain that has built up over the years, let's say around our heart, that we have not processed, that we have not let ourselves feel and not let ourselves release. In order to get to that core loving place, we need to be able to feel those and heal those and release those, so that we can actually love from a clear and true place. So let's say, like, this is your heart, yeah? And around your heart is those blocks and those negative emotions that you haven't processed. You need to chip away at all those emotions and all that unprocessed stuff around your heart, so then it can like fall away and you can access that true love in your heart in the center. So you can't access that love and you can never feel that really positive emotion if you never process the negative emotions that are coming up. When you feel like you're close to a really positive experience, but then it kind of backfires and you feel, I don't know, shame or pain or grief, it's actually a really good thing, because that means you're processing. You're hitting the very core of those emotions so that you can release them once and for all. And that is the point where people tend to shy away or get scared or think, oh, I'm doing something wrong, this feels really terrible. But no, this is actually the perfect place where if you let yourself feel that and let yourself process that, you can release it. It is just emotion that has been built up over the years that you haven't let yourself feel. And realizing that it's just emotion, you know, like nothing can go wrong. It is just something that is in your body that you just need to feel, and you're not doing anything wrong, is going to help you move forward and actually process it. I also recently found out this one thing that I shared on my TikTok that a lot of people liked, and it's that shame is the opposite of power. In the same way, in the example that I gave, that feeling love can bring pain that you need to feel through to get into that love, shame is the same with power. And if you're actually a very powerful being at the core, and you're hitting that power and you're getting very, very close to that power, you know, you're really touching and you're feeling that power within you, and then you start to feel shame, embarrassment, or, you know, that very low emotion of you're small, you're not good enough. It's just you accessing your power. And just like with the pain for love, you need to be able to feel through that shame to access the power. And you wouldn't be feeling that shame in the first place if you weren't able to access that power. You just wouldn't. Like, the shame is actually a great thing because it's helping you realize that this is what needs to be cleared for you to be able to fully be ready to be that powerful. And the same with love. If you're feeling that pain, this is what you just need to process in order to fully be able to open your heart. So yeah, don't give up on yourself if you start to feel negative emotions. Let yourself process them. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it gave you more clarity on self-concept. And make sure to like and subscribe if you like my videos and my vibe, and comment down below if you learned something new from self-concept today.